One day, another cardiologist sent me a patient saying, hey, can you put in something called a loop recorder for this patient? So I called that cardiologist and I was like, hey, why are you sending this patient to me? Why don't you do the loop recorder? She said, well, I've never done loop recorders before and I don't know how to do them, and you're here too, so you could just do them for me. And I'm like, well, look, you only have to do 5 to be proficient at it and be able to do it. Why don't you just come and do a handful of them with me when I'm doing them? And then that way you can learn how to do it. Now, she was from a competing group, and she was kind of shocked that I said this. She's like, you will teach me how to do it? I'm like, yeah, of course. What do you mean? I will show you how to do it. You could do it with me or under my proctorship or whatever. As soon as you get 5 of them, you're allowed to do them on your own. We never ended up getting to 5, and she moved away. But the point, and she was shocked that I said this, and I looked at her and I said, why are you shocked? She said, well, you're a competing cardiologist, and it's just odd that you would be trying to help me. And I'm thinking back, like, why is this odd? Humans are made to help each other. Like, we have this inner drive where we want to give and help people. So then I started thinking back to like the abundance and the scarcity mindset. Unfortunately, a lot of people come from the smaller scarcity mindset, and we do see this in medicine. Where everyone's always like afraid, if I give too much, then there won't be enough for me. Whereas some people just give, whether it's your knowledge or expertise or money or whatever it might be. They have an abundance mindset. The more I give, the more I'll get back in return at some point. So in medicine, we see the scarcity mindset, and it starts all the way back in college. I remember back when I was in college, people didn't want to study with other people because they're afraid you're going to take their spot in medical school. Back then, there was only like 125 schools. Their enrollment was probably about 100 students at each school. So it did make sense that there's limited spots available and you're competing with this person, but the likelihood that this person that you're helping is not going to go to medical school because I took their spot is very, very low. So it starts all the way back there, and then once you get into medical school, you see this a lot where students won't help each other studying for exams, because if you get a higher grade than they do, then you might get the dermatology residency and they won't. So there was always this like slight scarcity mindset in a lot of people. Now, I went to school with fantastic, amazing people, and I didn't see that very often, but there was always this small group of people that had this like scarcity mindset. And I feel bad for them because they probably have some insecurities about it, or they were just gunning for this super hard specialty or fellowship, and that's why they had it. In that case, it's more justifiable, makes more sense, but still, the more you give, the more likely you are to be given in return. You should never ask for anything in return, and that's part of the abundance mindset is you should give without the expectation of anything in return. And the ultimate form of abundance is you give to those who can never pay you back and never help you. See somebody in line at the grocery store, they look disheveled, they're counting their dollar bills and barely have enough to put into the machine or pay the person for the groceries, and you go and pay their groceries for them, and they have no way of ever repaying you. So I always say it's always better to do it in secret. You get more reward for it. But those are things the abundance mindset people would do. They give with no expectation of ever receiving anything in return. And that is the best way to do it. And I always tell people in medicine, look, you got to help your colleagues. You got to help your staff. You got to help your patients. You got to help, other people around you. You got to give. Just give as often as you can. And eventually, if like, let's say you're in business and you're giving and providing value, eventually you'll start getting. People will say, hey, well, this person has always taught me this and taught me that and has given away so much stuff. Let's bring them in and pay them, and then they can teach us this extra little thing or whatever it is. But anyways, you should never have that as your expectation that you're giving so that at some point you can get. But definitely that's one thing I see a lot in medicine is the scarcity mindset versus an abundance mindset. I would say, and it's not just in medicine, it's almost in every field, try to give as much as possible so that at some point in the future, you will get without even asking. You should never give with the expectation of a return or a payback or karma or anything. You should give because it's the right thing to do. Like, no matter who you are, what you believe in, giving and helping is like an inborn human thing, and you should always do it. So grab some of my free stuff below and share this with somebody who needs to hear it.